ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou? Yeah.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to Sunday Night Football Overtime. Bears, Rams. We've seen this now 3 times in a row. I think this is 3 straight years we've seen Bears, Rams on primetime football. I think 2 years ago it was on Sunday night. I believe it was a Sunday night. Rams were dominated by the Bears that night. That defense in Chicago was ferocious. Last year it was in Los Angeles. It was a no contest. And tonight was a no contest. And I didn't really understand why we needed this game on primetime to begin with. I think NBC was in the mindset that Justin Fields was going to get the start, and that would have made it a little salacious and maybe juicy, but he didn't. And maybe they just wanted SoFi Stadium on full display. Generally, when you get brand new stadiums, last year it was the first year of SoFi and there were no fans, so you didn't get the true experience, similar to the Raiders being on Monday night for week 1. Like, I don't need to see the Raiders in week 1 on Monday Night Football against the Ravens, but you really didn't get a full true sense of their stadium. You know, I guess technically speaking, I think their stadium is 2 years old, so maybe they have fans in it. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe last year was the first year of the stadium and it didn't have fans in it. Whatever the case may be, I don't think tomorrow night's game is going to be all that great. I think it's going to be more competitive because the Ravens have a ton of injuries, but we'll see. I knew this game wasn't going to be good, and I knew this game was going to be a lopsided Rams victory, and the Bears hung in. Give them credit. They hung in this game. They made it relatively interesting at halftime. This was a 13-10 game or something, 13-7 maybe, something along those lines. This never felt like a competitive game, though. This never felt like a game the Bears could win, especially after the opening possession. They march it right down the field, and they get picked off. It gets tipped in the air. It gets picked off in the end zone. Matt Nagy, I'm not a big fan of Matt Nagy. Why are we going for it on 4th down again? Somebody help me understand why you want to go for it on almost every 4th down, and not like you're at the Rams 22-yard line on 4th and 1 or 4th and 2. It's like 4th and 7 and you're going for it on 4th down. It's 4th and 6. I'm like, dude, either punt it or take a field goal opportunity, but what are we doing here? And then this was a tough one, but it's 4th and 15, dude. You're down 27-14. What are we doing, man? There's still 10 minutes to go in the game. Kick the damn field goal. Make it a 10-point game. You don't know what's going to happen. The ensuing kickoff, the Rams could fumble, and you could score a touchdown and be down 3. Like, what are we doing here? You're just going to not give your team a chance. It's 4th and 15. Do you really think you're converting that? Seriously. Take the points. You've got more than a possession left in the game with 10 minutes left. If you can get a stop. Trust that your defense can get a stop, which it probably wasn't going to, but give your defense a chance to get a stop and see if you can get multiple possessions. With 10 minutes left, you should feel like I'm going to get at least 2 possessions in the game. Now, with the way that they were moving the football at a snail's pace, it would have taken them probably another 10 minutes to score, and they wouldn't have gotten another possession. But that's nor here nor there. What are we doing here, man? Seriously. This Bears team is going nowhere fast with Andy Dalton at quarterback. And he wasn't terrible tonight. He's not the problem. He's just not the answer. They know that. We know that. And Bears fans are screaming, we know Andy Dalton isn't the solution, so why not get the Justin Fields experiment started right now? I don't know if the kid's ready or not. That's not for me to decide. They see him in practice every day. That's for them to decide. I guarantee you this, if Andy Dalton weren't there, they would be starting Justin Fields. They would not be starting Nicholas Foles. They'd be starting Justin Fields. So if that's the only reason you're not starting Justin Fields, then what are we talking about here? Because Andy Dalton isn't taking you to the playoffs. But again, Andy wasn't the problem tonight. Andy wasn't terrible. So I don't know. To the victors go the spoils. Let's talk about the Rams because they're a real Super Bowl contender. The only thing that I saw wrong with them tonight was simply the fact that they were getting gashed in the run game. I thought that Montgomery had a fantastic night. Him and Allen Robinson and maybe Cole Kmet. But Allen Robinson, I shouldn't say that because I actually like what Marquise Goodwin was doing. He's one of those guys, he'll give you fantastic play for 3 weeks, then he'll hurt his hamstring, and then you won't pretty much see him for the remainder of the season. He'll hurt his hamstring. He'll be out for 4 to 6 weeks. He'll come back. Then it's an ankle. And then the ankle comes back. Then it's the quad. And then it's the hammy again. And you pretty much will have him in and out of the lineup for the remainder of the season. But I thought he was good tonight too. The bottom line is they were giving up huge chunks of yardage on the ground to Montgomery. And I thought there were some good hits in the run game by Damian Williams as well. Other than that, they were pretty much flawless in this game. They didn't give up anything cheap or deep in the pass game. Offensively, they ran it when they needed to. Stafford hit big play after big play after big play. What did he have? 20, maybe 22 completions, maybe for 321. What? Yeah, I mean, he was fantastic with 20 completions for 321 yards. Are you kidding me? That's insane. So Stafford was phenomenal. The deep ball was working tonight. Remember, that was one of the reasons they wanted Goff out of LA is that he was too cautious with the football. There were plays that were being left on the field, a lot of meat left on the proverbial bone, and they were sick and tired of it in LA. Stafford is a big game hunter. He's looking for the big play, and if you give him opportunities to hit it, as you saw tonight, he will not miss. So they did what they wanted to do on offense. Cooper Kupp was fantastic. You got a sprinkle of Deshaun Jackson, sprinkle of Tyler Higbee. It's always nice to see Woods do his thing. He got a carry, got a nice toe drag swag catch in the back of the end zone. That was a phenomenal grab going up the ladder and then getting his 2 feet in bounds. You saw pretty much all of the weaponry on full display. You got a little smatter of Sony Michel. He's still kind of getting his feet wet in LA, but Henderson was outstanding tonight. They did whatever the hell they wanted to do, to be honest with you. So this was a game that never felt like it was in the balance. Knew they were going to take care of business. They're in a tough division, man, that you can't afford to lose to the Chicago Bears if you want to win that division. And they took care of business 34-14. I really think this is one of the best teams in the NFC. I really, truly do. It'll be fun to watch when they get into divisional play with Seattle and Arizona. Those will be some great games. I hope we get a couple of those on, primetime television, Sunday, Monday, Thursday, that sort of thing, because that division is going to be brutal. All of the teams in the division won today. Arizona, man, I owe them a 0-0. I'll give that to them tomorrow. Watch that game. It was a bloodbath. I called them soft and every other name in the book you could imagine, and they just shut me up. So I owe them a 0-0 tomorrow. The 49ers, I don't know how the hell they let Detroit back into the game. That game at one point was 41-17. It might have been 41-10, but I know it was 41-17 for sure. Somehow that thing ended up being 41-33, getting in as close as a one-score game. But they destroyed the Detroit Lions. And the Seattle Seahawks were impressive on the road at Indianapolis. Russell Wilson is fantastic, and Tyler Lockett was spectacular in that ball game. And the defense did what they had to do to get the win there. So that's going to be a fantastic division to watch unfold over 17 weeks of regular season football. And I can tell you this, the winner of that division is going to be poised and primed to make a run at the Super Bowl because you've gone through hell and back in the division just to be named division champ. So there is no easy game in that division. Unlike most of the divisions around football where there's one team you look at and say, okay, we better sweep them. There isn't one of those games in that division. You could very well go 3-3 in that division. Every team in that division could very well go 3-3 in the division. And you would look around and say, hey, I get it. Everybody's beating up on everybody. Somebody's going to win more than 3 games in the division, obviously, but or somebody's going to lose more than 3 games in the division. But it's that competitive. The winner of that division, I think, probably is going to represent the NFC in the NFC Championship game. Maybe 2 of them will, but I think the team that represents the NFC in the Super Bowl is probably going to come out of that division as well. So the Rams are in prime position. If Stafford stays healthy, this is going to be a tough team to deal with. Defensively, they've got everything they need. Offensively, they've got everything they need. And they've got a coach that is diabolical, pulling the strings in Sean McVay. So this was impressive. This is what you're supposed to do to teams that you're better than. Make a statement. They did that on a public, bright lights, big stage for everybody to see. Just in case you weren't sure if Stafford was going to be a great fit for them or not, he showed you what he brings to the table with his ability to hit the deep ball and then extend some plays and make some throws. That touchdown pass to Woods in the back of the end zone, him stepping up in the pocket, eluding the rush, throwing that dart. Stafford was fantastic. The rollout, I think, on 4th down and hitting Van Jefferson, Stafford's a better athlete than people give him credit for. And you got to see all of that on display tonight. So Rams dominate this game 34-14. Really, for the Bears, there's not much to talk about other than they ran the football very effectively tonight. David Montgomery looks like their best offensive player, not named Allen Robinson. And really, the story was the tackles went down. They had 2 tackles go down at left tackle. So they were playing with their 3rd string left tackle over there. And then the defense, honestly, just had some snafus in the secondary, like just some brain farts where guys are running free. They don't touch Van Jefferson on the first deep ball. And then you somehow let Cooper Kupp behind the whole entire defense on the second deep ball. I don't really understand what they were doing on the back end there and where the communication was, but too many guys were running free, unabated in their secondary. And they really, for a night where the offense for the Bears dominated time possession and gave them a chance, the defense took any chance of them having an opportunity to win this game away with giving up those big plays. I mean, every time the Bears cut it to a 1-possession game, they gave up a big play and allowed something crazy to happen to push the lead back out to 2 scores. And this offense isn't built to come from behind and, beat a team like the caliber of the Rams. So the Rams are going to be a tough out, man. I just know that much. If they're healthy, they're going to be a tough out. So anyhow, let's get to your comments. And you know what it is, man. Your man Louie T had a rough, day to day, took an L on the chin with the good guys not finding a way to get it done. So I wasn't planning on having any wine today. But then I was like, man, I could sure use a glass or 2. So here we are. This game didn't make it any better, but I was able to watch the Chiefs game during this game. I was able to watch the first half of the Saints-Packers game. I'm going to catch the rest of that after this is over with and maybe catch another game or 2. I'm dying to see the Cincinnati-Minnesota game. I knew Minnesota was going to lose. I told you I think they're going to stink this year, and that's a big win for Cincinnati. I'm dying to see some of those other games as well. So cheers to week 1 in the National Football League. 1 game left to put week 1 to rest. It just feels good to have football back. Feels good. Want your comment read? Use the hashtag LouieTLive to have your comment read on the air. If you want to jump to the front of the line, you know how to do that. Super chats are the way to do that. And we'll be here for the next 35 minutes or so, or 45 actually. We got about an hour to burn. If we run out of comments by then we'll get out of here. So super chat here from DCJ. Thank you for the super chat, DCJ. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, What's good, Lou? Much love, homie, to your channel. I appreciate that, DCJ. He says, couldn't legit read the Rams. Too many D breakdowns. Bears are in for a long season. No matter who the quarterback is. Also, their D took a major step back week 1 or not. Shaking my head. I think the Bears are in trouble regardless of who the quarterback is. But if you're going to be in trouble either way, if what you're saying is accurate, why not go with the young fella then? If you're going to stink either way, if your team's going to struggle either way, why not get the growing pains of the young fella out of the way this year when you know you're not winning? This is the thing. I don't know how close to the brink the head coach, Matt Nagy, or the GM, Ryan Pace, truly are. I mean, I keep bringing this up. 2 out of 3 years, they've made it to the postseason, have the Bears. Now, they didn't threaten anybody. Nobody felt like the Bears were going anywhere. Maybe the first year, if they get past Philadelphia, maybe they could have had something with the way their defense was playing that year. But truly, nobody was really scared of the Bears, especially last year. So I don't know if people are really happy with Matt Nagy. I'm not a Bears fan, so I don't truly know how they feel about Nagy or Pace. I know they can't stand Pace for the decision to draft Mitchell Trubisky, not only draft him, to trade up to get him. And you're looking at Mahomes, you're looking at Watson, and you're saying what could have been. But besides that, you look at what the Bears are. If they are truly on the hot seat, and I don't know that to be the case or not, but if they are, you can't afford to then put Justin Fields in and just get the growing pains out of the way. You got to win. If you are not on the hot seat and you have time to develop this kid and get him right, yeah, throw him in there. Let's see what we got. Let's speed up this process of him learning. But, you know, Nagy was in Kansas City when Patrick Mahomes learned behind Alex Smith. And if that's his philosophy, more power to him. We'll see how it works out for him. But I got a good read on the Rams. You said you couldn't because the Bears had too many defensive breakdowns. I saw all I needed to see. That's a good Rams football team, good Rams offense. And they're just scratching the surface. You didn't see Deshaun Jackson getting deep tonight. Like, they didn't have to do that tonight. They got more weapons than they really displayed tonight. They got other guys that can hurt you. And so I just think they're super deep, super talented, and well coached. They're going to be just fine. DCJ, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, DCJ. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, DCJ. Greatly appreciate you. Right. Eagles play high school varsity. Shaking my head, ready to flex. Look, I'm getting a great chuckle out of the Eagles fans that are acting like they won the Super Bowl today. It's amazing to me. I'm not responding to any of them because it's the same thing I said about Cowboys fans when they lost against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Thursday night. You'd have thought they won the game and that they're going to the Super Bowl because they went toe-to-toe with the Super Bowl champions and just fell short. The Falcons stink. And I knew I said this all preseason. The Falcons aren't talented. They're a bad football team, but they do have talent on offense. And so I thought that talent would be enough to give them a chance in this football game. And early on it was, but they couldn't get in the end zone. And the Eagles did get in the end zone, and that was really the difference in the game. So you take care of business. You can only beat who they put in front of you. The Eagles dominated them. Watch that game start to finish. They dominated the offensive line of the Atlanta Falcons. They got after Matt Ryan after things kind of got out of hand. They did a great job after the first 2 possessions of really buckling down and stopping the Falcons from being able to move the football. I really felt like the Falcons self-destructed. A lot of penalties. Man, every time they had a big play and they tried to get something going, penalty, bring it back. They got called for at least 3, if not 4, offensive pass interference on pick plays where I'm just like, come on, you really going to call that? One of them in particular with Calvin Ridley, you're like, come on, that's the softest OPI I've ever seen. What are you doing? But at the end of the day, the Eagles dominated them. But you look at the Eagles' schedule, and I say, okay, try that shit on the train. Okay, try that shit on the train. You just beat up on a really bad on a Falcons team. You're supposed to do that, and I'm not going to take anything away from them because we got the Falcons in 3 or 4 weeks. We're probably not going to do what the Eagles did to them today. So I'm not going to sit here and shit on that victory. I would love to just beat. I don't care if we beat them by 1. I would love to beat the Falcons. They destroyed the Falcons. Now you got the 49ers. Then after that, you got the Cowboys. Then after that, you have the Kansas City Chiefs. Then after that, you got the Panthers. Then after that, you got the Bucks. Try that shit on the train. Come talk to me after those 5 games. And if you're sitting pretty at 5-1, 4-2, shit, even 3-3, we can have a conversation. Especially if Hurts is playing good football. But if you really want me to have a serious conversation with you after today, I'm gonna look you in your face. I'm gonna laugh. Get out of here. So it's funny to me. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Anyway, I digress. DCJ, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy DCJ writes, Nagy and GM got a hotel card that don't work. I don't know, man. I've already explained to you that they've been to the postseason 2 out of 3 years. You know, for as much as we try to make them out to be this terrible combo that has to go, the organization gave them the keys to go out and draft Justin Fields, to move up and draft Justin Fields. If I'm thinking about firing you, I don't know if I'm giving you the keys to go and get a quarterback of the future that you're not going to be here to coach. Like, to me, that's the worst thing you could do, is go and have a organization that is in place and a structure that is in place with a GM and a coach go out and handpick a quarterback that they think could be the future of the franchise. And you have that combo on a short leash. And if they get fired, the next guy may tell you when he takes the job, I believe in this guy, but he may not believe in the guy. He just told you that because he wants the damn job. I.e. Jay Gruden when he took the job in Washington with Robert Griffin III. I.e. Ron Rivera in Washington when he took the job with Dwayne Haskins. You tell the GM, you tell the owner whatever they want to hear so you can get the job, you get your foot in the door, and you're like, this kid, he stinks. I can't do this. Let's get him out of here. So I wouldn't try to set my franchise up knowing that I don't think these two are the guys that are going to lead me into the future. I wouldn't let them go and draft a quarterback if I felt that way. So I'm thinking that these two guys are going to be around to at least see if they can get the most out of Justin Fields. And if that is, in fact, not the case, then they may get canned. But I don't think they're going to get fired. But we'll see. Anyway, I digress. John Livingston, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. JL Smooth writes, what's good, Luke? It's good, JL Smooth. He says, I'm feeling the pain just like you are today. Outgained Pittsburgh 370 to 250, but penalties. Allen missed some throws, and of course, the block punt we lose. Credit to the Pittsburgh D-line. That was a hell of a game that I honestly did not see coming. You guys jumped on them 10-0. I said, okay, they're gonna win this football game. Pittsburgh essentially was sleepwalking for the first 2.5 quarters. Your defense had a lot to do with that. And then I realized, I looked up and I realized it's still only 10-0. And then the Steelers finally got on the board. And I'm like, this is a 1-possession game. The Bills are really bullshitting around here and leaving these guys in the game. Josh Allen, I've always talked about him being loosey-goosey with the football. When he leaves the pocket, he gets stripped of the football. You get the punt blocked. Like you said, some massive penalties that call back some plays and some missed opportunities. You got E-Man Sand running wide open for a touchdown down the field, and Josh Allen overshoots him. Like, just a number of missed opportunities, some bad breaks, and next thing you know, the Steelers get the momentum and they run off about a good 13 unanswered, and next thing you know, it goes from 10-0, 10-3 to 20-10, and I'm like, wow, did not see that coming at all. But that's what happened when you allow a team to hang around. I mean, there were so many opportunities for you guys to score points. Even if there were field goals, you'd get right in the cusp of field goal range and then have a stupid penalty that pushes you back, or a sack or something like that. And how many times did you guys go for it on 4th down and fail in this game? I mean, everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And you just left the door wide open for the Steelers to come back and win this game. And that's exactly what they did. So credit to the Steelers for hanging in there and giving themselves a chance. But, the Bills got to play cleaner football if they expect to win games against good football teams. And the Steelers are a good football team. So yeah, that was a tough L right there. If you're Buffalo, especially being the way that you played in this game, you definitely could have won that game. Anyway, let's see. All right, so that's the last super chat. So let's start taking some of these comments. Storm, who the F thought Bears-Rams was going to be a good Sunday night game? Hopefully Raiders-Ravens is so much better. I'm not going to hold my breath on that one, Storm. I think this was more about Stafford. He was already in LA when the schedule came out. So I think this was more about Stafford making his Rams debut and SoFi Stadium with fans making its debut. I think it was more about that, and it just so happened to be that the Bears were the opponent. It really didn't matter who the opponent was. This was more about SoFi Stadium having fans. Remember, last year, SoFi Stadium made its debut, and who was the Sunday night game? The Rams. And it was Dallas. But there were no fans. So this year, they wanted to run it back, but this time they knew they would have fans. So I think this is less about Bears-Rams, because honestly, I'm exhausted. Bears-Rams, I'm exhausted. They've run that one into the ground. That's not a rivalry. That's not a game that people get ginned up for. I'm exhausted. I don't need to see that one again. Next time those two teams meet, if they play again next year for some strange reason, they finish the same place in the division, whatever the case, put that shit on at 1 o'clock in week 8 in obscurity and let those markets have that game. I don't need to see that shit on primetime again. That's 3 years in a row you force Bears-Rams down my throat. I don't want to watch it anymore. I don't need to see it. So I don't think they're going to do this to us again. We don't need this again. This was more about the stadium and Stafford than the Bears and the Rams. But I'm with you. Whoever thought this was going to be a good game, they were sadly mistaken. As far as Raiders tomorrow, that has a chance to be a good game. I remember, disrespecting the Raiders on a Monday night last year, early in the season against New Orleans, and they took it to the Saints and won that football game. So we'll see if the Raiders can do what they did last year early in the season, which they started out hot. If you remember, the Raiders were a good football team early in the season. They faltered down the stretch, which is why they missed out on the postseason. So the Ravens are all kinds of banged up. They're signing guys off the street. They could walk into an ass whooping here. We'll see. I've got confidence that the Ravens are one of the deepest teams in football, and their depth will show, and they'll post in this game on Monday and give the Raiders everything they could ask for and maybe then some and come out with the win. But it'll be a much more competitive game than the one we watched tonight. I assure you of that. I think I got another super chat. And I do. This one is from Cortez Smith. Thank you for the super chat, Cortez Smith. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, my Giants got destroyed by the Broncos. They are a playoff team. If they wasn't A-Rod, wouldn't talk about going there, but we had a terrible game plan. I knew you weren't going to beat them just off the strength of their defense. Man, now, that's Washington fans are funny because they love to talk about elite. They love to throw the E word around when they talk about our defense. And I'm like, you don't know what an elite defense looks like. The Broncos are truly an elite defense. That's what elite defense looks like. All right. There won't be too many times the Broncos get blown out of games unless, and the only reason they used to lose games in a terrible fashion is Drew Lock goes in and regurgitates all over himself. With Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback, the one thing Teddy Bridgewater, is not going to do is he's not going to wet the bed. He's not going to soil himself. He's going to go out there. He's going to take care of the football. He's going to have a high completion percentage. And that's why they're starting him, because they know he gives them the best chance to win football games. And they're going to be a tough out as well this year because the defense is legit. And Teddy Bridgewater has a bunch of weapons. I don't know the severity of the injury to Jerry Jeudy. It did not look good. I heard it's a high ankle sprain. Those could be really tough on guys like Jerry Jeudy who rely on ankle flexion and the ability to plant, cut, stop, and start. So he could be out for a while. High ankle sprains sometimes are worse than broken ankles. We'll see about that. But the bottom line is they've got a ton of weapons. Even without Jerry Jeudy, they got a ton of weaponry for Teddy Bridgewater to get the football to, a bunch of tight ends, some good backs. You saw Melvin Good in the third break off a massive run. And I haven't watched the game yet. I got to the end of the game after the Washington stream. There was about 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, so I caught the game at that point when it was still 20-7 before the big run. I saw Daniel Jones go take the team down the field and pretty much fizz out down at around the 7 or 8 and not get it in the end zone on fourth down. And then I saw the big run by Melvin Good in the third to put it away essentially at 27-7. So I got to go back and watch that entire game and see what exactly happened. So I can't really reference your game plan being, poor in terms of coming into the game on how you wanted to execute. But I already told you, I love Joe Judge as a motivator and, a hard ass and all. I don't know if he's the right man for the job or not. Again, if you're going to be a hard ass, you better win. And I think he called a timeout. He challenged a play that is already going to be reviewed, and you lost a timeout because of that in the second half. Like that, you can't be doing stuff like that. So I don't know about Joe Judge, man. I'm starting to rethink my position on him, but I'd have to watch the game. But I didn't expect you to beat the Broncos. And it sets up a desperation game on Thursday night, quick turnaround. Both teams 0-1, desperately want to avoid 0-2. The winner of that game is going to have a chance in the division. The loser of that game is in dire straits because I don't know the Giants' schedule offhand, but I can tell you that if Washington drops to 0-2 with what they have coming down the pipeline, it's not looking good for them. So that is a must-win game for Washington, and I would assume the Giants probably feel equally the same. So we'll see what happens. But the Broncos, I think, have a chance to be a really good team this year. As you mentioned, Aaron Rodgers wouldn't have considered going there if he thought they stunk. They're going to be a good football team, I think. Thank you for the super chat, Cortez Smith. Got another super chat from DCJ. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, DCJ, writes, "You called me dumb." He said, "Yo, call me dumb. I told a homie at the job who is a Pitt fan that they would win. Pitt was looking for revenge. They was looking for revenge." Also, us Washington football team fans, are you surprised if Cam got a workout at the least? Also, Ron and JDR got work to do. There is no reason for them to call up Cam Newton. Not a single reason why. First and foremost, we don't know the extent of the injury to Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's number one. Number two, if you're not bringing Cam in to be your starter, why are you bringing him in? Like, the problem with Cam in New England is the same problem you would have with him here if you brought him in, which is if he's not starting, he's a distraction because people are going to continuously ask you, why isn't Cam starting? Or when can Cam be up to speed enough to get in the lineup? And if a guy has a poor half or a poor quarter or a poor game, you guys should put Cam in. You don't want to bring that to Washington for what? And it's not like you're bringing it to Washington for the Cam of 5 years ago. You're bringing it to Washington for the Cam that got cut by the New England Patriots, the Cam that got benched 17 times the year before with the New England Patriots. You're bringing Cam Newton here who's a shell of himself. Why? Because he's better than what we have? You guys keep saying that, but every time I see Taylor Heinicke, I'm impressed. And I walk away saying, well, he wasn't the reason we lost the game. So I really don't understand why all the Cam, conversation. Let his ass stay at home. And yes, Ron and JDR got to go back to the drawing board and throw Scott Turner in there as well. All of them have to go back to the drawing board after today's game for sure. Thank you for the super chat, DCJ. Got another one here from John Livingston. Double up. Thank you for the super chat, John Livingston, and doubling up. And thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, 1 of 3 on fourth down. Cole Beasley had a huge drop, a massive drop, wide ass open. It was a little top shelf. Josh could have brought it down a little bit, but I still need Cole Beasley. I've seen him catch that plenty of times. Go and get that. Wide ass open too. Allen needs to make a better throw. Cole Beasley needs to catch that football, though. He says, I'm a fan of Dalton. He wasn't bad tonight, but I think Fields has that big playability. I'm an Andy Dalton fan, too. I used to defend Andy in Cincinnati all the time. Andy Dalton was Derek Carr before Derek Carr. Every year, Bengals fans wanted to run Andy Dalton out of town. And I'm like, Andy Dalton is the least of your problems. You're not losing games because of Andy Dalton, okay? Dalton's fine. You're not going anywhere with him. So it's almost like you're running on a hamster wheel with Andy Dalton in the lineup. Why? Go with the guy that has the higher upside and the guy that is the future of the franchise. Now, again, if he's not ready, if you don't think he can protect himself, nobody took more sacks in the preseason than Justin Fields. If you don't think the young man is ready and you think you would be putting him in harm's way by putting him on the field, then do exactly what you're doing. And that's why I said I'm not going to advocate for Justin Fields because I don't know what the guy's doing in practice. I know what I saw in the preseason. And, you know, he had his great moments like he did against the Dolphins in that first preseason game. And then there were a lot of sacks. Some of it his fault, some of it not his fault. At the end of the day, I thought that for the most part, Andy Dalton was protected well enough to be able to run the offense. If he's going to get that kind of protection, put Justin Fields out there. That's how I feel. But again, I'm not behind the scenes. I don't see this guy at practice. I don't know what he is or isn't capable of at this point of his NFL career. So I just got to assume that they're doing the best thing. They're doing the thing that's in the best interest of Justin Fields right now. Maybe not the Chicago Bears organization overall, but Justin Fields in particular. So we'll see. Thank you for the super chat, John Livingston. And I knew y'all had a few fourth downs. I wasn't sure if it was 2, 3, or 4. I knew it was somewhere in there, but I'm like, damn, they're going for it on fourth down an awful lot. Felt a little cocky to me, like, hey, we got these dudes in the bag. We're not really worried. And I thought y'all kind of were a bit arrogant by going for it. Like, the Steelers were struggling on offense. Why not punt and pin them deep one of those times and see if the defense can't get a 3 and out and get you the ball back right where you ended up turning it over on downs? Josh Allen is so dynamic, and your offense was so dynamic last year that, you know, you figured he was going to convert 1 or 2 of those, and he didn't. So thank you for the super chat, Fat American. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, the AFC West looking real good so far. Both Wests are looking real good so far. You know, Chargers won, Chiefs won, Raiders are playing later on tomorrow night, and the Broncos won. In the NFC West, all 4 teams won. 49ers won, Cardinals won, Rams won, Seahawks won. So both Wests are looking really strong right now. As to be expected, we thought both of those divisions had a chance to be really strong this season. So I'm not really all that surprised. Cortez Smith, thank you for the super chat. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Cortez Smith, who writes, Daniel Jones taking out his anger on Washington football team as always. That seems to be a theme with him every single year. Every time he plays us, he seems to play some of his best ball. This is not the year, though. The shit stops this year. I'm guaranteeing victory on Thursday night. I did it with the Eagles last year. I'm doing it with the Giants this year. This has to stop. He's had too much success against us. And it seems like it's always that way with Giants quarterbacks, though, because Eli used to tear our ass to pieces every year, it seemed like. But we got to get him once, you know what I'm saying? And we struggle in the Meadowlands. If we're going to get him, it's going to be at home. We're going to win the football game. We bloodthirsty now. We know we got to have it. We're disappointed in the way we played. This is a make or break week. And I think you get the best of Washington football team this week. If we do the stupid shit we always do against the Giants, turn it over, miss field goals, you know, do all the dumb shit, have guys get injured, all the stupid shit that always happens when we play the Giants, then we'll find a way to muck it up again and lose. But if we come out and play the kind of ball we're capable of, I think we get the Giants this time. We owe them one. So I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for the super chat, Cortez Smith. Got another one here from DCJ. Thank you for the super chat, DCJ. Greatly appreciate you. DCJ writes, yo, facts is facts. Taylor and Allen got to show me they can be healthy more than a half a ball. They do look legit, but one hit away. So why not the Cam? The crash dummy, I'm thinking playoffs, damn survival. LOL. Until they get hurt, I'm not going with that narrative. Okay. Like Kyle Allen isn't prone. He got injured last year, he broke his ankle, but that wasn't his history before that. As for Heinicke, that's a different story. I cringe every time he runs. Every time he hits the ground, I always hold my breath. I just want him to get up. But at the end of the day, I wanted to see Taylor Heinicke. I'm a Taylor Heinicke fan. He went to my alma mater. I want to see this guy succeed. He's shown me that he is capable every time he's played. And he didn't do anything today to dispel that notion. He just didn't get enough opportunities. So I'm intrigued. I want more. So I don't want Cam. I know what that looks like. I know how that movie ends. I don't need to watch it. I'd rather watch that movie from afar. I don't need to see that movie up close and personal. So I'm good. Thanks, no thanks. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Fat American. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, the Washington football team has me go 0 to 100 quick, man. Oh, I know. You were wilding today in the MOBB. You were wilding. After the first possession, you was ready to christen this team 3-14. So, yeah, you be on edge after, a couple of bad plays. So, you just got to hang in there, man. You got to hang in there and keep the faith. All the preaching that we've done, all the talks we've had this offseason, they can't go out the window after 4 minutes of football. Like, you got to stay strong, man. So you definitely ride the roller coaster for sure. And it wasn't your best ride today. That's for sure. Hang in there though, man. We're going to be fine. John Livingston, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy JL Smooth writes, or kick a 50-yard field goal with which is well within T-Bass's range. They tried the Bledsoe play faking and sneak the fail. And wait, hold on. This is not one of your better comments, JL. It says, or kick a 50-yard field goal, which you left out the you said with, which you meant which is well within T-Bass's range. They tried the Bledsoe play faking the sneak and failed miserably. Got you. Okay, I had to slow that one down. He says, on to Miami. Yeah, and they got a big win, man. So they're feeling themselves and they're confident. There were some big fumbles today, man. Some really costly fumbles. I don't think any was more costly than Damian Harris's fumble in New England. They were going to win the football game. Either they go in for the game-winning touchdown or they settle for the game-winning field goal. But either way, they were going to win the damn game. They were in chip shot field goal range, going in for a touchdown, and he fumbled. He coughed the thing up, coughed it up, and the Dolphins end up running out the clock. Whew. That's brutal, man. Brutal with a capital B. Yeah, I thought you should have settled for a field goal or two there. I just thought you guys were being over-aggressive unnecessarily at that. You had the Steelers on the ropes. You could have field goaled them to death in this game, and you might have been able to put them to sleep with 2 field goals. If it's 16-0, it's a totally different game than 10-0. Changes everything. But if they look up and they get a field goal and they realize, shit, we only down a touchdown, it changes the way you feel about everything. So I just thought you were over-aggressive today. Really, really pushing the envelope. And again, you're fully capable of converting those 4th downs. But I felt like it was unnecessary, especially with the way the defense was playing at that point of the game. You guys were stifling at that point of the game. Why are you putting them? And I think it works both ways because you're thinking, yeah, the defense is playing so well, we can put them in a tough spot. They'll bail us out. But why not give them great field position to work with defensively and force the Steelers to have to go the length of the field and have their backs up against the goal line and see if you can't produce a turnover that way. Anyway, I digress. Got another super chat here. This one is from Fat American. Thank you for the super chat, Fat American. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, man, can you blame me though? Love y'all, mob. Can I blame you? Yes, I can blame you. No, on one hand, because they did some very maddening things today. But on the other hand, yes, it's the first game of the season, Fat American. And literally, you were tripping on the first possession. Washington didn't even possess the football offensively yet. And you had already said, oh, this game is over. We suck. Here we are stinking it up again. This defense is trash. I'm like, whoa. It's the first possession. Relax. We hadn't even seen all of the tomfoolery and chicanery that would go on in the game yet. So, yeah, I need you to be more patient. Need you to allow the game to play out before you fly off the handle. There'll be more of these games that we don't win that will come down to a few plays here or there and some mistakes. And you're going to be frustrated. It's a part of being a fan. It's a part of the game. Remember, I can't stress this enough. And I've said this to fans 1,000 times. This is year 2 of Ron. Ron has a 4-year plan. A lot of you have a 2-year plan. We got a long way to go. So I just wanted to put that out there again. Captain Spartan 04. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Captain Spartan writes, it's going to be hard for Washington to develop something at home with the stadium breaking down, referencing the bathroom pipe bust video trending. My only comment to that was stinky on the field, stinky off the field. That was really the theme of the day. We need a new stadium. There's no denying that. Nobody's going to defend FedEx Field. It's a dump. It was a dump when it was built back in '96. This stadium was Jack Kent Cook wanted to see this thing built by hook or by crook, and he wanted to be alive to see it, and he threw it together in a terrible location, couldn't get it built in the city, and it's a terrible destination where it is. It's not a great facility. Everything's old and dilapidated. We need a new stadium, and that's why they're in the process of trying to get that done. I think they're going to ultimately build it right where it is, right in the parking lot, the same damn parking lot where it's at, right next to it, because I don't think they're going to get, the blessings from any of the places that they're trying to put this stadium in Virginia, Maryland, or in DC. I think they're going to end up staying right in Landover where they own that property and end up building it right there. But that's no here nor there. At the end of the day, I don't give a shit about the stadium, it falling apart, or who's in it or not in it. Heard it was actually a pretty good turnout for Washington fans. And I just want the product on the field to be better, period. End of discussion. Thank you for the super chat, Captain Spartan. Cortez Smith, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Cortez tripling up writes, y'all can beat us. We play scared because of Jones's turnovers, and Jason Garrett play calling is predictable. He just runs curls. Giants fans have been saying that for like 3 years running, and we still haven't beat y'all. So I ain't trying to hear that shit, Cortez. I really ain't. Like, I know what you're saying. You're frustrated with your team. They're predictable. They're this, they're that. Giants fans have actually begged us to beat them because you wanted to get rid of your GM, Dave Gettleman, and we haven't done our part. I said, well, I'm ready to do my part now, because the motto and mantra has been protect Dave Gettleman at all costs. And our contribution to protecting Dave Gettleman at all costs was us making sure we lost to the Giants twice a year to make sure that you weren't the worst in the division. If you weren't the worst, then he wasn't getting canned. I can't subscribe to that this year. I got an agenda. We got shit we got to do. Y'all are in the way. We got to have it this year. So if us beating you means Dave Gettleman is shown the door, so be it. We had a great run. He's effed y'all up enough and done some good enough things to keep y'all down in the basement or somewhere around there in the division. He's done enough damage to last another 2 or 3 years after he leaves. I'm ready to start whooping some ass. So I'm hoping this is the beginning of us getting on a nice little streak of beating the Giants, 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4, or 4 straight, whatever the case may be. I'm just sick of losing to the Giants. I can't take the shit anymore. It has to end, and it's going to end on Thursday. So if you're on board, I'm on board. Let's get it done. Appreciate you, Cortez. Thank you for the super chat. DCJ, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, DCJ, writes, trust me, I didn't want Cam either and want Taylor to ball and survive, most importantly, win. But Allen, all cards off the table, Fitz, small bet, Washington football team, help. It's not as bad as you think. I feel really good about Taylor Heinicke, man. And the defense isn't going to, first of all, we're not going to see Justin Herbert every week, but we do have quarterbacks with his skill set on the schedule quite a bit. But the defense is going to get better. And you're hoping that we're able to clean up some things in enough time to right some wrongs against the Giants. You get then a 10-day layoff before having to travel to Buffalo. Maybe, just maybe, you catch the Bills slipping, and just like the Steelers did, and you're able to hang in that game and give yourself a chance. And we play like we did today, the Bills are going to hang 40 on us, because they're going to score in the red zone. They're not going to leave points out on the football field. So if we don't clean up our act fast enough, we could easily be 0-3 very quickly. Thank you for the super chat. DCJ. Got another one here from Fat American. Thank you for the super chat, Fat American. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, on a serious note, though, do you see a future with Heinicke if he continues to play well? Also, how do you feel about JDR play calling today? Again, got to watch the film. I felt like we didn't get enough pressure with 4, so at some point you got to change it up. That was my only criticism. I can't say what he did or didn't do until I watched the film, but I can tell you this: we didn't blitz a ton, and we weren't hitting home with 4. So you got to do something different. If you're not getting pressure with 4, you can't just let Justin Herbert sit back there. We getting picked apart on 3rd down, whether you drop 7 or not. So how about you come and bring 6 and drop 5? Again, the Chargers, the way I think about it is, if you're playing a team with a ton of team speed offensively, then you have to be a little bit more cautious, because if a guy misses a tackle, it could be off to the races. The Chargers don't have that kind of speed at receiver. So if you miss a tackle, you should be able to have another guy come over, have an angle, slow him down enough till the cavalry arrives or whatever the case may be. I thought we were too conservative, and they picked us apart in zone, and man, it didn't matter. So I got to watch the film to see what happened. But the only criticism I have of Jack Del Rio is that we could have been more aggressive. I thought we were too passive when we knew we weren't hitting home with 4. So as far as Heinicke is concerned, sure, he's going to have to play extremely well, and we're going to have to win. He can't just play well and we lose. They'll probably still go after a quarterback. But if he plays extremely well, I'm talking 11, 12 wins well, even 10, and we make the postseason, I could see them saying, you know what, we got something here. And he's one of the reasons we're winning. He's not just along for the ride. Yeah, I could see something happening. Captain Spartan 04, thank you for the super chat. Double up. Greatly appreciate you. Captain Spartan writes, also, John Livingston got to chill. Bill's still good. I don't think JL Smooth is tripping. I think he was just disappointed in how, today went. They had a golden opportunity to start 1-0 on the season, and they let that go by the wayside. And, when you have high expectations, this was a Bills team that was in the AFC Championship a season ago. When you have high expectations coming into the season, the last thing you want to do is drop a very winnable game at home. And I can relate to that because, I don't think, obviously, my team's expectations aren't nearly as high as Buffalo's. I mean, the Bills were 1 game away from playing in the Super Bowl last year. We're not even remotely close to that. But they won their division. We won our division. They started at home. We started at home. We had a winnable game. They had a winnable game. And they made mistakes, and we made mistakes. And that's frustrating when there was a game in front of you that you could have won, and their division isn't going to be as bad as it was last year. The Jets are going to stink this year, right? But the Dolphins, the Patriots are going to be improved. And the Dolphins weren't bad last year to begin with. So they know their hands could potentially be full with the division. You can't afford to be dropping games at the crib, even if it's against a very good and game Pittsburgh Steelers team. You were up 10-0. You were dominating this game. You were in total control, and they literally pissed this game away. Got to give the Steelers credit for hanging in, for being physical, for being tough, for winning arguably 2 out of the 3 phases. They dominated the special teams aspect of things, and despite having their worldly punter, you talked about, Harvin. Oh my God, you would have thought Harvin was, once in a generation punter, and yeah, he shanked one out of bounds early in this ball game. But they battled back, blocked a punt. Roethlisberger came alive, and they got it done, man. They got it done. And I think he's just disappointed. I don't think he is, he ain't talking like some of these Washington fans out here, like the sky's falling and the season's over. I think he's just disappointed. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Fat American writes, all right, man, only from Mob. Hard after 20 plus years. I know. Look, man, I don't like to tell people what they should or shouldn't do, how they should or shouldn't root, be disappointed, not be disappointed, because everyone's fandom is different. Everyone's experiences are different. We've all seen it. We've all been through a whole bunch of nonsense and stinky stuff with this team. The Browns stinky stuff. We've been through a lot of it with this team. So I get that. But at the same time, Rivera, and he's it's fair for him to ask this, but he hasn't been through it either. But he's like, hey, I want you guys to give us a chance. Don't keep harping on the past. Give us a chance to create a new future here. That's fine and dandy, but you can't erase 30 years of heartbreak, 30 years of dysfunction, 30 years of losing. You can't just erase that because you get here and you want a fresh start. Give us a reason to think that you're going to give us a fresh start and change things. So I get it, but I told you I'm an optimist, so I'm going to give him a chance to come in here and change things around. I'm not going to think that he's going to fail like every other coach before him, even though there's a track record that suggests he probably is going to end up just like the rest of these coaches. I'm going to give him a chance. Got another one from Fat American. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Fat American writes, number 81 caught everything. Herbert throws so good. Oh my God. Mike Williams did not catch everything. He dropped a couple, including a touchdown pass, but when they needed him most, he damn near caught everything. Tough third down grab with William Jackson draped all over him. He catches the shit. The back shoulder fade in the end zone, the game-winning touchdown, he catches it. I think he had maybe 1 or 2 drops, but for the most part, he probably was targeted, 12 times in the game, and he caught 9 or 10 of them. Like, it's not like he was hurting the Chargers on a serious level. Like, he really hurt us bad. He caught, like you said, he caught a lot of balls, tough balls too. But that's why they drafted him. 6'3" frame, 225 pounds or so, just physically built, man, and able to box you out. And that's what he did. He boxed a lot of dudes out, including, Benjamin St. Juste on the back shoulder fade touchdown. And as you mentioned, Herbert was lights out, man. God, he's good. He's really, really good. HHC Lunar, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. HHC Lunar writes, Stafford looked awesome tonight. Rams are Bucks' biggest threat in the NFC. Week 3 will be fun. I agree. The Rams are probably the biggest threat to the Buccaneers this year. And I shouldn't say they're the only threat. I won't say they're the only threat. They're probably the biggest, though. I might agree with you there. But there are other threats in the NFC. There are threats in that same division with the Rams. But when it's all said and done, I think the biggest threat probably is the Rams. And Stafford was outstanding tonight. And a lot of people don't really know how good Matthew Stafford is because they haven't been watching Detroit Lions football, and for good reason. But he's a perfect fit for Sean McVay, and you saw that, a little bit of a glimpse of that tonight. Thank you for the super chat, HHC Lunar. Cortez Smith, Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Cortez Smith writes, Jones is signing his name on FedEx Field before it crumbles on itself. Jones is the owner and GM of the Washington football team. He's co-owner with Dak Prescott. Those two have been destroying Washington since they've come into the league respectively. So, he's got to share that title with Dak Prescott. But I'm looking to change some things, man. This year, they're on the NFC East hit list. We scratched the Eagles off last year. I'm ready to scratch the Giants off this year. We swept Dallas last year, but Dak wasn't a part of that. I want some of the Dak Prescott smoke. I want some of that. So for me, I'm really looking forward to this Thursday's game. I really am. I'm going to be beyond disappointed if we don't find a way to win. I'm guaranteeing a win. So, I think that we're going to win, and I'm super confident. But for some reason, when we play the Giants, we just find a way to not play our best brand of ball. So we'll see. I'm just glad it's a quick turnaround. This nasty taste that's in our mouth right now, we don't have to sit and let it savor for 7 days. We get to try to extinguish it in just a matter of 4 days. So cheers to that. Cheers to us, beating you guys, Cortez. Will you cheers to that? John Livingston, thank you for another super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. John Livingston writes, Spartan, y'all in the chat. He said, y'all in chat, I appreciate you. We really expected to win today. And some people are panicking. Not me. Josh Allen owns Miami. We good. I told you JL Smooth isn't panicking. He's good. He's just disappointed. And I know where he's coming from because he shares the same disappointment I shared. The only difference is his is on a much larger scale because they were in the AFC Championship last year. They actually were dominating the game. We never at any point were dominating the game against the Chargers, but we did have a lead, just like the Bills had a lead. Ours wasn't 10 points, but we had a lead. And we were in control of the game with a chance to take a 6-point lead, and our field goal kicker missed. And even after he missed, we still had the lead, and the defense created a turnover, and then we turned it over ourselves. So, yeah. I can tell you this much. The Bills will be fine. I can't say the same for my Washington football team. But I expect to bounce back. He expects to bounce back because they own Miami. I expect to bounce back because we're due for a win against the Giants. So it's a little different. He's going off of past history. I'm going off of a leap of faith. Oh, man. That is terrible. HTTR for life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, Washington fans need to chill. I'm still confident. Again, if you're confident, then you don't have to tell everyone you're confident. Because there are a lot of people that today were acting like the sky was falling, and they do this all the time. So it doesn't move me anymore. That move is old. It worked the first couple of times. It got my blood boiling the first. It doesn't move me anymore. I say what I got to say, and then I keep it pushing. But you're going to get people that overreact all the time. So I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked. But those are the people that thought we were going 12-5. So when you think we're going 12-5, 11-6, you're going to be pretty pissed off when you realize, maybe I overestimated. I overshot a bit. You think? Anyway, I digress. Dejan Bell, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Dejan Bell writes, sorry if I missed you talking about it, but Cam, briefly, I'm really not entertaining the Cam discussion because for what? But I did talk about it already. For what? What's the point of bringing Cam in? What does Cam do? What does Cam change? How does Cam make us better? Like, too many people are looking at Cam like it's 2015. Cam is no longer the guy that was able to put the Carolina Panthers on his back and lead them to a Super Bowl. He's not that guy anymore. He is a shell of himself. Can he help a team? Sure. I don't think we're the team that he can help. We're good. I'm good. Because personally, this is the guy I wanted to see all along. I hated that it had to come at the expense of Ryan Fitzpatrick getting hurt in the first half of his first game in a Washington uniform. That sucks. I wish injury on no man. No matter how hated of a rival he plays for, I don't want to see another man get injured. That's not how I want it. And I definitely don't want to see a player that I want to see get some clock getting it at the expense of a guy on our team getting hurt. That said, Fitzpatrick did get injured. He is out, and I'm dying to see Taylor Heinicke get an opportunity. Most Washington fans want to see Heinicke get an opportunity. Well, he's going to get that opportunity. Let's see what he does with it. So I don't need to see Cam on this roster, and I said this earlier. The same reason the Patriots cut him is the same reason I don't want to sign him. He's a distraction if he's not starting. And if you bring him here, he's not starting right away. So why bring him here? You got Kyle Allen to back up Taylor Heinicke. And if something were to happen to Heinicke and he's on the shelf as well, then you could entertain the thought of bringing in Cam Newton. Then I'd listen. But right now, you still got two quarterbacks. Most NFL rosters carry two quarterbacks. And I'm good. We got two guys. Don't know the severity of the Fitz injury. Don't know how long he's going to be out for. But if it's not a season ender and he'll be back in 6 weeks, okay, then you just let, Taylor Heinicke steady the ship with Kyle Allen backing him up. If Heinicke's playing well enough, when Fitzpatrick comes back, he's on the bench and he'll be the backup. If Heinicke isn't playing well or he's just getting by and we're just winning games, but Heinicke is more of a detriment than a help, and you reinsert Ryan Fitzpatrick and you keep the party going. But by no means do we need Cam Newton here. He doesn't really serve a purpose in my mind. You're stunting the growth of, if there's any growth to be had, of Taylor Heinicke. So why? Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Fat American writes, feels like group therapy right now. LOL. He said, I think the year that Bruce fired Scott McCloughan was the year I lost all of my patience. Still recovering from that. Fair enough. I told you everybody's experience is different. At the end of the day, patience is something that this organization, specifically Ron Rivera, has begged for from the fan base. Like, hey, look, I know you want to win. You've been dying to have a winner, a consistent winner. I told you last year, him winning the division at 7-9 was the worst thing that could have happened to him in terms of patience from the fan base, because what it did was it expedited this process in their minds. In his mind, hey, we're a little ahead of schedule, but this thing is right on schedule. Year 2, turn over this roster, get all the guys in here that we believe in, really start to build the depth of this team. They would have loved to have found a quarterback by now, but we're on pace to have the roster set. So when we get the quarterback, we drop them in the middle and boom, we take off. Fans don't want to hear that shit. Not coming off of a division title. Now they're ready in the offseason with free agency and all that stuff. Oh no, they ready to take the next step. Let's go win 12 games. Nah, not Ryan Fitzpatrick at quarterback. Well, he's no longer a quarterback right now for the time being. Let's see what Taylor Heinicke has. My guy, JL Smooth, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. John Livingston writes, not sure if there are any Browns fans here. Probably not. But I feel the pain for our brothers on Lake Erie. Baker played his ass off until shaking my head. Sorry, Browns fans. You know what I didn't realize until I watched that game? They hadn't won a season opener since 2004. Yikes. I'm like, wait a minute. Are you sure that's a real thing? And it was like, yeah, haven't won one since 2004. Jeff Garcia led the Browns to a 20-7 win over the Kyle Bowler-led Baltimore Ravens. And I said, wow, that sucks. You haven't started a season off 1-0 in almost 2 decades. And you're right. The Browns went into Arrowhead. Baker played a masterful game until he threw that damn pick. But I don't think the pick was what lost him the game. I really think I told you there were some big fumbles today. That Nick Chubb, and he was excellent, but that Chubb fumble, that to me felt like the beginning of the end. That was a massive turnover. Massive. They were moving the football on that drive as well. So anyway, I digress. Chris Zacharias, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Chris writes, bring in Cam Newton. He will play backup. Nope, I'm good. Thanks, but no thanks. JM1231, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, how about those Tyler Lockett catches today, Lou? Man, they were fantastic. He probably had one of my favorite catches of the day. He had one. Oh, shucks. What's my man for the Christian Kirk had one over the shoulder, just like Lockett's, where he was looking one way and then had to find it the other way. And he plucked it like it was that. And then it's crazy because we watched Chris Godwin drop that same ball on Thursday night, and everybody was making excuses for him. Oh, it's such a tough catch. It is a tough catch, but you're supposed to make the catch. And these guys made it look easy. And then, of course, Terry McLaurin had a ridiculous catch as well. But Lockett had two big bombs, man. I told you, there are a lot of underrated receivers in this league. But there are still people out there that question the Seahawks for giving Lockett an extension. I'm like, you haven't been watching a lot of Seattle Seahawks football, have you? The guy's amazing. To me, he's the X factor because everybody wants to talk about DK Metcalf, DK, and he had a nice touchdown grab today as well. But to me, the guy that is the X factor, the guy that changes the game for them, because everyone's focused on DK. So who's going to hurt you? If you're focused on what DK is going to do, somebody else has to hurt you. That somebody is Tyler Lockett. And when he's not right, I don't think their offense is right. When he is clicking, they're tough to deal with. And you saw that today again. He was outstanding. Dejon Bell, thank you for the super chat. Double up. Greatly appreciate you, Dejon Bell. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? Is Curtis back? No. He's on IR. He won't be eligible to return, which doesn't mean he will. It just means he's eligible to come back week 4 versus Atlanta on the road. He's on IR right now. And he says, and you look like Nipsey Hussle, by the way. I take that as a compliment, I guess. Thank you. I'm trying to get some Nipsey Hussle bread. Of course, I'm a long ways away from that. Thank you for the super chat, Dejon Bell. Got another super chat here from Landry Balbin, my guy Landry. Thank you for the super chat. Who writes, Lou, Heinicke should start for the remainder of the season. I can't co-sign that right now. I have to see more. I wanted Heinicke to start from the jump, but again, 3/4 of football, or two and some change, but essentially 3/4 of football isn't enough for me to be like, oh yeah, Heinicke needs to start the rest of the season. I prefer him, to start the rest of the season if he plays well, but he's got to earn that. So we'll see. I like my chances with Taylor Heinicke. I like my chances. So he says, I think we have something in him. Let's hand him the full season and truly see what he's got. If they felt that way, Landry, they would have done that from the jump. They didn't feel that way. They think he's a backup. Ron Rivera thinks that Taylor Heinicke is a damn good NFL backup quarterback. I do not think he believes in Heinicke yet. Heinicke's going to have to win him over. And that's the way it should be. This is his opportunity. A lot of guys in the league just simply need an opportunity. A wise man once said, all I needed was an opportunity. All I ever wanted was an opportunity. Well, you got it. Let's see what you do with it. I hope he takes advantage of it. That's all I can say. Thank you for the super chat, Landry Balbin. 00 tucks given. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, biggest winner of the day, Tyrod Taylor. No lie, he is throwing it nicely. Again, it's week 1, and they played arguably one of the worst teams in football in the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tyrod Taylor is not garbage, for those of you who don't know this. And I know somebody was killing me on the podcast the other day because he said I was hating on Tyrod, and maybe I was. But for me, with Tyrod, it never has been about talent. Tyrod Taylor, I know what he's capable of. I know what he is as a quarterback. He has limitations. But you know what? He's not that much dissimilar from Teddy Bridgewater. If he stays healthy and you got a hell of a defense, you can win games with Tyrod Taylor. Ask the Buffalo Bills. That said, there is a ceiling and a limit on what Tyrod Taylor can do for you and your offense. But that's not the problem I have with Tyrod Taylor. My problem is health. He can never, ever stay healthy. And that's the problem I have with Tyrod Taylor. So them going out and scoring a boatload of points against Jacksonville doesn't move the needle for me. Again, I don't know the Texans' schedule, but I'd love to see who the next 3 or 4 opponents are. And I want to see how they come out of that scrum. And if they come out, just like I said about the Eagles, if they come out of the other side of that thing, 5-1, 4-2, hell, even 3-3, you say, shit, they're a lot better than I thought. But I'd probably put a large sum of money that if I had a chance to look at the schedule and it's pretty tough, they'd come out of that thing 1-4, 1-5, 2-4, somewhere along those lines. So we'll see. I haven't watched the game yet, but I'd imagine he did damage. I saw Brandon Cooks went over 100 yards. When you scored 37, your quarterback had to play pretty well to do that a lot of times. So I'm not shocked. Jacksonville stinks. They stink. Detroit's going to stink this year pretty badly. I think there are about maybe 2 or 3 more teams that don't know it yet, but they're going to be pretty stinky this year as well. So, give them about 3 or 4 weeks for them to allow it to settle in and set in that, yeah, we ass. And then, we'll have that clear bottom of the barrel in the NFL this year. But I think Jacksonville will be there. There's a chance the Jets could be there. And I expect Detroit to fully be there. So, and Atlanta too. I think Atlanta's going to be pretty damn bad. They looked awful today, but it's week 1. Don't want to overreact. But I told you from the preseason, they got no depth. And if their frontline guys don't step up, they don't stand a chance. Thank you for the super chat. 00 tucks given. JM1231. Thank you for the super chat. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, as a Hawks fan, it is refreshing with Waldron at OC, having a screen game in intermediate routes and moving guys horizontally is so exciting. I heard Russell Wilson talk about, and he swore by, your last OC, who he was pretty close with. I think they shared, a spiritual bond as well. But I think he realizes that Waldron is probably the best thing that has happened to him in Seattle. And you could see that. I got to see more of the offense before I start lauding and praising Waldron quite yet. But it was a nice change of pace watching them today. But Russ has always been a great thrower of the deep ball. He did it again today or yesterday. So for me, I just need to see more of it. Because remember how he started off the season last year. We were talking, he's winning the MVP. The question isn't is Russ winning the MVP? It's who's coming in second. That's what we were talking the first 6 weeks of the season last year. Hell, maybe even the first 7 or 8. And then we'll look what happened. So I don't want to crown, Shane Waldron just yet. But it's a great start. That's for sure. Thank you for the super chat. JM1231. HTTR for life. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Greatly appreciate you. HTTR for life writes, man, it sucks to see the Eagles at the top week 1. They won. Everybody else lost. I give them credit for that, man. I will never hate on another team for doing what we failed to do, which is win. I always say, I don't worry about what anybody else is doing. If we take care of business, if we think we're the best team in the division, then take care of business. We didn't do that today. So you get what you get when you don't do what you're supposed to do. So the Eagles did take care of business. And so they get to be on top of the division. To the victors go the spoils. But it's going to be interesting because I don't think the division is going to be terrible this year. But here we go again. 3 out of 4 teams, just like last year, winless after 1 week of football. Winless. Yeah. Last year, we were the only team in the division to win week 1. This year, the Eagles, only team to win in week 1. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Landry Balbin, thank you for the super chat. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Landry Balbin. Greatly appreciate you. Landry Balbin writes, Louie, that boy Jameis Winston is a baller. He played well, but a lot of people are going to give Jameis all the credit. He threw 5 touchdown passes. He was insane, this, that, and the third. Go look at his numbers. I watched half of the game. I got another half to watch, but I can already tell you what the second half is going to look like just based off the first half. Jameis is turning around and handing that bitch off, and they are running that thing. And then when they ask Jameis to throw it, he's completing passes and making things happen. But I want to see when Jameis Winston is stressed, what he does. There was no stress in that game. They kicked the Packers' ass. There was no stress in that game. I want to see what happens when shit gets tight. They're in a tight ball game. It's 16-13 midway through the third, and Jameis has a little pressure on him. Is he going to eat the sack? Is he going to throw it away like he did in this game because he could do that? I can tell you this, though, and this is some shit ain't nobody talking about. But having watched this game, let me tell you this right now. Jameis Winston is in the best shape of his life. The man ran for about 3-4 first downs in the first half of the game. Again, I ain't got to the second half yet. The man is out here running that thing. In Tampa Bay, when he would run 3-4 yards, he looked like he was about to pass out on the field out of exhaustion. He was about 240. It seemed like he wasn't that big, but it looked like he was that damn big. Maybe it was the rib protectors he was wearing or something. But the man is in great shape. And, sometimes when you get knocked off that pedestal and you get knocked down a few rungs and you come to that realization that this is it. This could be it for me. I don't take advantage of this opportunity, I won't get another one. You work that much harder to make sure you succeed. And I think that's where he is at this point in his career. Like, if I can't do it here in New Orleans with Sean Payton, one of the best play callers and offensive minds in football, learning from Drew Brees every day for the last 2 years, if I can't get it done, I'm not going to get it done. He's taking it serious. I do know that. He did play well. But I'm not convinced yet. I'm not sold yet. But that was the biggest surprise. We'll talk about that tomorrow on the podcast. Thank you for the super chat, Landry Balbin. JL Smooth, my guy John Livingston, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Trubisky for Fuller, straight up. I hate Levi Wallace. I need to give a shout out to Tyrod Taylor, my guy. He ended our drought along with Dalton. Indeed, he did. Dalton with the big play against the Ravens to get you in, and Tyrod to get you to the postseason. To Jacksonville, where you fell short there. But yeah, Tyrod, you play defense, and Tyrod will do the rest. He'll take care of the football. He'll manage the hell out of the game. He'll distribute, and he'll take care of the football. And he'll give you a chance. If you can play some defense, you can win with Tyrod Taylor. That's never been the issue with Tyrod. Health has been the issue with Tyrod Taylor. Yeah, I'm good on Trubisky, man. Even though I like me some Mitch. I've always had a soft spot for Mitchell. Everybody knows that. I think you put Mitch in the right situation and he could flourish. But there's a little bit of that Marcus Mariota passive aggressiveness in Mitch that I'm like, And Mariota has shown me I ain't no bitch. Stop talking about me like that. Okay, you're right. I'm sorry. Mitch, on the other hand, I'm like, I don't know. You know, Mitch is like, I see the first down marker, but I might actually have to get hit to get that. I ain't really trying to do that. Mariota, on the other hand, is getting helicoptered in a preseason game trying to score to let everybody know I'm for real about mine. So I don't like to put them in the same vein, but I'm good on Mitch. I'm going to roll with my gang over here. Thanks, but no thanks. Levi Wallace, I know exactly why you have a love-hate. He's one of those dudes. He's making a play, or he's giving one up, or he's committing a penalty. Either way, you're going to hear Levi Wallace's name more than you would like to during the course of a game. Thank you for the super chat, JL Smooth. DCJ, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy DCJ writes, truly wouldn't be shocked if Urban is gone after 1 year. He ain't going nowhere after 1 year unless he quits like Nick Saban did. And you know, he could have gotten several college football jobs if he wanted them. I think he really wants to prove that he can do this at the NFL level. You know, a lot of guys have an ego, and you know, sometimes you have that what if. What if I would have tried my hand at the NFL? Could I have done it? Well, he's kind of, you know, putting that theory to test right now. He's finding out the growing pains of the NFL. I've heard him say so many things that I thought he already understood before he got here. Like, man, this free agency thing is crazy. Or, you know, it's different dealing with guys that are, you know, XYZ age and not dealing with college age guys. You know, it's this roster thing is crazy because he's used to having 200 players on the roster. Like, there's a lot of things that I'm like, Herb, you really didn't know that before you got here, before you got the job and experienced that? You didn't know that? He's like, yeah. And he's saying things. I'm like, yo, you're not at Columbus no more. Like, you can't say stuff like, yeah, we definitely were cutting dudes based off of, you know, they were vaccinated or not. Like, you could think that you can't say that. And the numbers don't actually bear that out. I'm like, why would you say that? And he's right. If it's equal between a dude that's vaccinated and not, I'm taking the vaccinated dude. But you still can't say that. So Herb's got some learning to do. To me, unless he quits, there's no way he's getting fired. No way. We all knew the Browns lost after the Browns punt issue. Yeah, you can't drop that snap, man. Like, come on, guy. This is your first time punting all game long, and you do that? Yikes. That was some true Browns shit right there. That was the Browns being the Browns. Ugh, that's nasty. Vikings will be trash. Giants got a lot of issues. I got to watch that Vikings game, but I knew they would lose that game. And that was a big win for me because I did not have the week that I intended to have with some of the losses I ended up with. But that was a big one that I needed to get, and it felt good to get it. I needed that one, and I got that one. DCJ, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Packers O-line, I guess, is all new, but all trash. It wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. I was shocked at how they got dominated. I still got a half of football to go, so I can't really speak on that game as much as I want to. But I've said this about New Orleans before. I didn't think they were going to be good this year. I still think they're not going to be as good. I'd be lying to you if this didn't cause me to pause. This was a cause for pause. Watching when I finished the Washington stream earlier today, and the first score I see is the Saints up on the Packers 31-3. I'm like, what the hell is going on out here? I said, I got to see what happened. I got to watch this game. But I still want to see what Jameis does when pressure is applied, because there wasn't pressure on him in this game. You know, they were up early and often. I mean, the Packers only scored 3 points, so he was really never in the danger zone. But I said this before. If the Saints defensively are what they've been over the last 3 or 4 years now, they're going to have a chance. I thought the defense was going to fall off as well as the offense. And that still could be the case. But if this performance against Green Bay, they picked Aaron Rodgers off twice, molested and harassed him in this game. If this is any indication of what they're going to be moving forward, I might have to rethink my Saints prognostication before the season got underway. I may have to go and walk that one back, Mike Jack style. So we'll see. Whew, that was impressive, though. All right. So that was the last super chat. And that's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me here on Sunday Night Football Overtime. Very uneventful game. Uneventful game. The Rams were the superior team. Everyone knew it going into the game. They just needed to go out and prove it, and that they did, 34-14. Matthew Stafford was phenomenal tonight. Hit the deep ball with regularity, moved around the pocket, had some boots, converted a 4th down, had a crazy touchdown throw to the back of the end zone to Robert Woods, got his feet down. Stafford was on it tonight, 20 of 26 for 321 yards and 3 touchdown tosses, I believe. Yeah. He was phenomenal. And this is what Sean McVay signed up for. This is why they traded the picks, to get him. And if he stays healthy, coupled with that Rams defense, look out for the Los Angeles Rams. As far as the Bears are concerned, don't really think you're going to do much of anything with Andy Dalton. I think they understand that, but I think they're protecting Justin Herbert, or Justin Fields, excuse me. I think they're protecting him. I don't know if he's ready or not. The preseason might have spooked him a bit. You know, had he turned out like Mac Jones and been completing everything and not taking sacks and processing everything quickly, maybe they start him week 1. But that wasn't the case. He was taking a ton of sacks. They don't want the kid to get beat up. They don't want him to lose confidence. And that's probably why they're not starting him right now. And plus, they probably think, you know, that Andy Dalton gives them the best chance to win. We'll see. They're not going to play the Rams every week. That's for sure. So we'll see what happens with the Bears. Their division, nobody won. So they're still in first place. They're tied for first place. The Vikings lost, Packers lost, Lions lost, they lost. So we'll see what happens with the Bears, man. I'm not very confident in their ability to get it done. And I think we'll see Justin Fields sooner rather than later. But that remains to be seen. But this was total domination by the Rams, 34-14. And I think they're going to be a really good team. We shall see. That's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. Thank you guys for joining me. Remember, get off the bench, get in the game, and kick it with me, your man, Louie T. Until next time, you guys have a good one. Take care. I'll see you guys later on today for the LouieTeeNetwork podcast, among other topics. And, of course, Monday Night Football Overtime. Ravens and Raiders. Until then, God bless. Good night.
LouieTeeNetwork.